Hello, Knights fans. Welcome to the FDU Baseball office for the 9th edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup. I'm joined by the FDU Baseball coach, Gary Puccio. How you doing, Gary?
How are you, Ryan? You're doing better than me. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat. We both have been out of commission in different ways the last week. We both took a 2-week absence from the Knights Baseball Roundup, and Corbin held the fort down last week. Talked to Riley. It was
Did a great job.
Great show, about 5 minutes long, but it was a good interview with Riley. Riley's a great interview. Let's get to our interview. We got 2 weeks to talk about. We'll try to do it pretty fast. So before we get into any of the games played, we have another alumni question of the week. So, Gary, take it away.
Yeah, alumni question of the week this week comes from John Bittman. And the question he asked is, could you give us an agenda for the May 10th Alumni Day, as well as the panel discussion on April 24th? So, John, here's what we got. April 24th, we have a panel discussion going on. We have some alumni coming down. They will talk about their different various fields of employment for our baseball guys, and our baseball guys will have questions prepared for them to talk to them about opportunities in their fields and how to get internships, and obviously in the long run the ultimate goal is to get a job in their field. And we think it'll be informative and helpful for everyone, strictly for the baseball team, and that's Thursday, April 24th, 8 p.m. at the Metro Club. The Alumni Day on May 10th is a doubleheader with Bryant University. We play Bryant University that day. It's the next to last home game of the season. And we're going to have a lunch for the alumni at 12 o'clock. They'll be eating with their sponsors. Those that have sponsors will be out there eating with them. And after that, we'll be, let me just double check my notes, we'll be presenting Red McGarry with his all-decade team certificate because he wasn't able to attend the baseball dinner. And we also, for the first time, will announce the nominations for the 2000 to 2010 All-Decade Team, which is our first 21st century All-Decade Team. That'll be coming up on May the 10th. Voting for that will then begin that day online, where you can go to fduknights.com, go to the baseball site, and vote for who you believe should be an All-Decade player from 2000 to 2010. The voting will go on all summer, and then next fall we will announce that team. And of course, as we've done in the past, we'll honor them at next year's first pitch dinner.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to that. And as I said, fduknights.com, always, all summer long. Let's jump into conference play. The last show we did, we previewed Sacred Heart, the weekend series. Sacred Heart, good team, came in and walked away with 4 victories, but close games. And let's touch on it as a whole, the series, and starting out NAC play.
Sacred Heart's picked to finish second, and I thought they were a very good ball club. Didn't make any mistakes. Pitched out of a lot of jams. Cody Kersey has been phenomenal all year long. In fact, the kid had come into the game against us. He had 1 earned run against in 33 innings of pitching. We scored 2 earned runs against him, so we actually did a decent job against him. But I think we lost that game 6-2, and then we lost 3-2 and 4-2, and we were very competitive all weekend. We're just not hitting at the level we should be hitting at. And we just seem right now, the 3-2 game, we gave up, I believe, 3 unearned runs in that game. So it just seems like we're making the mistake that beats us all the time, whether it's an offensive mistake, a defensive mistake, a pitching mistake, walking a 9 guy to open up an inning, things like that. So we got to get away from that. I mean, it's part of that. It's part of being a young team. We have no seniors, so I have a lot of confidence that they're only going to keep improving. I would have liked to have gotten off to a little better start, so it is a little bit demoralizing and upsetting. When you see you guys giving up only 3 or 4 runs a game, you kind of expect those games to be wins, and hopefully as time goes on, they will be.
And Wagner, this past weekend, he traveled to Long Island, Staten Island, and took on the Seahawks. The first game was a loss on Friday, 12-5. Team did come up with 11 hits, but Keno got a little roughed up. I think his first rough outing of the season has done really well in spot starts due to injury, had a long relief before that. But give me some thoughts about the Friday game.
Yeah, Nick just couldn't get out of the first inning. He never really got going. I think he gave up first 7 batters, so the game got on base against him, so that didn't help at all. The one bad thing that we do, and I've tried to talk to the guys about this, is, it's all well and good to say we had 11 hits, but against Ryan Casey, their starting pitcher, we were 6 for 28. That's under 250 batting average, closer to 225.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we got to get away from. Getting the hits in garbage time when the game's already over is not doing anybody any good. I believe it was the first inning of that game. We had first and third, nobody out, didn't score. Strike out and a line drive double play, and that kind of set the tone for it being a tough day for us. And we've done that a few times now, and it's something we definitely need to get away from and start to recognize key at bats in a game, because a lot of times the score is not real indicative of how the game went. That there was a key play or two that could have made the game much
Mm-hmm.
closer and much different.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. It seems like there have been a lot of plays like that, the line drive double plays that kind of happen out of nowhere and kind of kill a
It's been
rally.
mind-boggling, right.
So, Saturday's game one was another one of these close games, a loss 1-0. Joe Flagg, the freshman, pitched another outstanding pitching performance. 1 run gets the loss. So let's talk about that game, but mostly let's talk about Joe Flagg. The last 3 games you mentioned, Seton Hall, Sacred Heart, and now Wagner. 3 great pitching performances from a freshman, but all losses.
It's incredible because if you said to me who's pitched the best games in the last 3 series, Seton Hall, Sacred Heart, and Wagner, Joe Flagg's name comes up in every one of those games. And this week, 1-0. He walked 2 guys in the first, and again goes back to you can't walk guys. Walked 2 guys in the first inning. They stole third, got a sac fly, and it was 1-0 at the end of 1, and it was 1-0 at the end of the game. And he had not given up a hit till the 5th inning, I believe it was, in a 7-inning game. He's got tremendous potential. I'm a big fan of his. I love the kid's heart on the mound. I love the way the kid is coachable. He listens. He makes adjustments out there, and he's going to be a good one. And the kid legitimately should have 3 wins already. He really should. The way he's pitched, with any kind of support, this kid's a winning pitcher, and hopefully that's going to show as time goes on.
Definitely noticeably settled down after his first couple collegiate starts. Has looked tremendous. Game 2, it seemed the offense kind of rallied around him, but it was too late for Joe Flagg to get that win. This Game 2, it was a victory 7-3. John Chalupa and Ryan McGrath combined for a 5-hitter. Only allowed 2 earned runs, and McGrath picked up his second win. And every hitter, -1, got at least 1 hit. So a great offensive game. But the one outlier in the series. But give me some of your thoughts on the game.
Well, the key in that, Johnny struggled a little bit. You could tell he was tired. He had thrown I think 111 pitches the week before against Sacred Heart in a great game that he had pitched for us, and he kind of didn't recover as quickly as we would have liked him to, and you could tell right from inning 1 that he was struggling. So he got to, I guess it was the 4th inning, and it was obvious that all of a sudden he had no command of his pitches, and Ryan McGrath did one terrific job coming in from the bullpen. And that was one of those games where we got the lead, and Ryan McGrath came in, I believe, with bases loaded, 1 out, got out of the inning. Nice. And we just rode him the rest of the way to the finish line because he was just outstanding. And we gave ourselves some breathing room in that game, got a couple extra hits to give us a couple of runs. So all of a sudden, instead of it being a 5-2 game, it's a 7-2 game. And it's amazing how that helps, that those 2 extra runs, you got some breathing room, and now not every play's not crucial, every play's not critical, and you end up playing a lot better that way because you're much more at ease.
Talk about good long relief performances like McGrath right there. Ryan McDonald comes in on Sunday, piggybacking Brendan Butler, and keeps the chance alive for the team. It fell eventually 5-1. But obviously Ryan McDonald, another good display, and Ryan Brennan, who we will have an interview with Corbin Gapski just in a few minutes. Brennan went 3 for 3 that game, I believe. Continued his torrid hitting over the weekend. But give me some thoughts about game 4.
Yeah, we were down 3-1 when I yanked Brendan. I think it was the 4th inning. But part of our problems were not hitting, and Brendan's been struggling to get out of some innings, and I just felt that we had 2 outs, 3 batters before, and then 3 straight batters reached base, and I just felt I can't afford to give up a couple more runs here based on the way we're hitting. So I'm going to take a shot, and I brought Ryan McDonald in with bases loaded, 1 out, and Mickey got out of it. Did a great job for us, got out of it, and kept it there till the 8th, and they didn't score again until the 8th inning. It gave us a chance to stay at 3-1. But we obviously didn't hit those last couple of games, and that definitely hurt us. Absolutely hurt us. And it forces my hand pitching wise too, because when you see you're not hitting, you can't give up those extra runs. You can't take the chance of that extra run scoring. So you kind of have to make a quick hook a little bit quicker than you may want to.
Now, I mentioned Ryan Brennan went for 3 for 3 that game, 7 for 13 over the Wagner series, and we did just film the interview with Corbin a second ago. So he was mentioning how he feels good. He feels finally back in the swing of things after the long layoff and injury, playing games finally after sitting out last season. But what have you seen from Ryan this season?
Yeah, and it goes back to what I had said about the guys who were injured needing 50 at-bats to get going, and Ryan's been a great example of that. He started to get hot last weekend at Sacred Heart. I thought he played a couple of real good games. Maybe he didn't have hits to show for it, but had real good at-bats, showing good aggression at the plate, hitting the ball hard. Mm-hmm. And this weekend we moved him up to the 2 spot over the weekend, and he definitely seemed to fit him pretty well because he definitely responded in a positive way. And I think Ryan Brennan's a terrific hitter. He's one of the guys we're counting on to be a big-time hitter for us as time goes on. And he's, again, and I tell him this all the time, I forget sometimes he's still a freshman because he didn't play last year. Mm-hmm. Even though, he obviously doesn't act like a freshman or have those kind of instincts to him, the kind of things that freshmen do. So I have to remind myself every so often that this kid's only playing his 15th college game or his 20th college game because I just think the kid's going to be a phenomenal baseball player, and I think he's a very good fit for us and a kid that long-term people are going to get to notice.
I guess one of the few benefits of a season-ending injury like that is that they do get the collegiate experience, and they still have the years remaining of eligibility. So, another player that had to sit out last season due to injury, Pat Mcclure. A nice, wonderful announcement you will make, and I'll let you do the announcement. But I also want to know, what kind of goes into the thought process behind this decision, and what you felt making it.
Yeah, I told Pat a while back that as soon as he was healthy, that he would be named the 3rd captain of the team. Eric and Shane were both on board with that. We talked about this back, to be honest, back in September, back at the start of fall, and that. One of the things I just, Pat was my first recruit here, as I always talk about it, and that makes him a little special to me. But Pat's one of those kids that he'll tell you how it is. I mean, he's not afraid to voice his opinion. He's not afraid to tell you how he feels about something. And I value that as long as it's not a complaining board and not with it being, it's just constant negativity. I've always felt that Pat has a good pulse of the team. He's very well respected by the players. He's a good leader. He's obviously, if you just look at his stats, he's going to be one of our main players for the next 3 years. I mean, including a power hitter. So he's got a lot going for himself, and he's turned himself into where he's had to play first a little bit because he's still coming back from that arm injury, but he's also caught. So God willing, this is a kid that's going to be a mainstay for the next 3 years. And as I said, he's a kid that I know, he cares about the team winning a lot, just like Eric and Shane. And in no way, shape, or form was this any knock to Shane and Eric. They've done a terrific job. They, as I said, we're on board with this. We've been talking about this since September. So congratulations to Pat.
Yeah, congrats, Pat. I don't think it's a knock at all. I think 3 captains are great. I mean, the captains that were before Pat, Shane and Eric, great guys. So I like how they're agreeing with that.
It's decision. A good mix. I mean, they definitely have good chemistry together.
All right, and before we end this section of the roundup, before we get to Corbin and Ryan,
and Corbin, by the way, suggested Pat be captain too because they were playing in the sandbox back when they were.
Anyway, running joke. Before we end, now you have a brutal schedule coming up. So, to preview tomorrow's game, you got Monmouth on the road tomorrow, and then CCSU this weekend here in Teaneck. So, give me a preview, but also 10 games in 10 days. So, tell me how that's going to affect you guys, how you're preparing for it.
At the start of the season, I said this is my best pitching staff here at FDU that I've had since I got here. And it's incredible how then something goes wrong and people get hurt, and all of a sudden, Logan's out for the year, and we've had a couple other minor injuries where guys have been out for a weekend or 2. Mm-hmm. And it's just how it goes, and now it piles up, and here we go, 10 games in 10 days. But what counts is the conference games. Tomorrow's going to be another one of those days where who knows who's pitching. Some position players have volunteered to throw an inning or 2. I mean, it's going to be one of those, play it by ear and fly by night type days.
Interesting box score days.
Yeah, you got it. And our focus is going to be on the conference games. And then next week's all non-conference. So it's a chance for me to try a couple things especially being, we haven't been hitting as well as I would like. Maybe mix up the lineup a little bit, try a couple of things, play a couple of different guys in different spots.
So that can only be beneficial as having a full week of out of conference.
Right, and there's no pressure, or at least a less pressure in non-conference games. So hopefully the guys relax a little bit, because I think part of what's happened too is when you lose 1-0, you lose 3-2, you start pressing a little bit, and that's definitely been one of our issues with the offense.
All right, thank you, Gary. Good luck tomorrow against Monmouth, at Monmouth, and this weekend against CCSU.
CCSU is home, so we need the fans to come out. The guys need your support.
Yes, absolutely. Naimoli Family Baseball Complex. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The doubleheaders on Friday, Easter weekend. So push back a little bit.
I hope they won't lay an egg.
Right. Weather as well. Keep an eye out for the weather, because Northeast. I don't know, that was a good one, Gary.
Throw that out. Get that out of there.
No, we'll keep it. It's fine. Fans, bring your own chairs to the Naimoli Family Baseball Complex and come cheer on your Knights this weekend. And FDUKnights.com, obviously, follow the team for their road games. Keep an eye out for all things baseball related, and keep sending those questions. Alumni, thank you, John, for sending this week's question. And we'll send it over now to Corbin Gapski and Ryan Brennan. So thank you for watching this 9th edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup, and check back next week for number 10.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. And I just want to say, Ryan, it's great to have you back. Ryan, this past week, was in Cleveland with the women's bowling team, and I just want to say congratulations to the women's bowling team for having such a great season, making it to the NCAA championships. But I'm joined here today with sophomore outfielder Ryan Brennan. Ryan, we're in the FDU locker room right now, and right in front of your locker, actually. Keep it a little bit clean. So how you doing today?
I'm feeling great. I'm glad to be here with you.
So the reason why I wanted to interview you today is because let's go back to last week. You go to FDUKnights.com and watch the interview with Riley Moonen. And right before I interviewed Riley, you came up to me and was like, Corbin, when am I going to get interviewed by you? And you go, I'm going to have a big weekend against Wagner, and you're going to interview me next week. What happened this past weekend? You went 7 for 13 against the Seahawks and had an unbelievable weekend, had one hit at least in every game, and you went 7 for 13, like I said. So just tell me about the weekend, and was it me that had such a great weekend for you?
Well, Corbin, your opinion always matters to me, so it's great to hear. Great to hear good news from you. But I was feeling more comfortable with the plate, and last weekend during practice, I felt like I was seeing the ball well and taking some good hacks. And just as this weekend approached, I felt like I might do something good this weekend, and I did my best to help the team, and just had a good overall weekend.
Great. And now you have Central Connecticut State coming up this weekend. And now I have to kind of talk about your expectations. Last year you were hurt for the season. But I want to know how your expectations have changed after having an injury like that. So can you kind of tell me about your expectations from last year and now this year? Have they changed at all, or have they been consistent for you?
This year's kind of been, focused on staying healthy all the time. wanting to be on the field, help the team, do everything I can to always be on the field. So it's just basically this year's been about staying healthy, but at the same time, helping the team win games. So, the ideal goal is always to win. No matter what the situation. Last year, even when I wasn't on the field, I was trying to, root my teammates on to win. So just as the season's gone on, try to win some ball games and do the best I can out there.
Okay. And I have to talk about one of my favorite things about you is you're a utility player. I've seen you play a lot of different positions for the Knights, whether it's in practice or during the games. You're in left field mostly this year. So just tell me about playing different positions. Is there a certain one you feel more comfortable in? But I saw you against Sacred Heart a couple weekends ago. You made about 2 or 3 phenomenal plays, unbelievable plays. So how comfortable you feel out in the field and getting that transition back?
I'm definitely feeling more comfortable in the field as the year goes on. Last year I took a lot of reps, mostly at third base actually. So this year it was kind of getting back into action in the outfield and just getting used to reading fly balls and tracking them down. So honestly, I'm not most comfortable at any position particularly. I would say I just as long as I'm taking reps and just getting ready to play the outfield, I'm good to go anytime.
All right, so you're feeling comfortable. And you have more than 20 games a season already. So I have to talk to you about what things have you seen from the team so far that you're impressed with, and what kind of things would you like to see the team do, and any changes that you think would lead to even a greater success for the Knights this season?
Honestly, it's a matter of just putting hitting and pitching together both in the same game. There's been games where we've pitched phenomenally. We've scored 1 to 2 runs in those games, and they've scored 3 or 4, and we've lost close games, but like over and over again. So it's just, I mean, a matter of us, putting 2 and 2 together, making sure we hit, score a lot of runs for our pitchers, and then our pitchers get out there, throw strikes, and limit the runs. And, I mean, as long as that happens, I think we got a good chance to win.
All right. Well, Ryan, you made it through it. You said you were a little bit nervous, but you made it through your interview with Corbin. So, fans, make sure to go to FDUnice.com every week to watch tonight's baseball roundup with Gary Puccio and Ryan Uhlich and me, Corbin Gapski. Make sure to go to FDUnice.com for all your updates, videos, and stats of all FDU baseball and all FDU athletics. Ryan, I want to wish you the best of luck this Easter weekend against Central Connecticut, and the best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, Corb. It's good to see you.
Always a pleasure. Have a great day, folks.